on this computer. Let's go do it. And we are now live. This is awesome. All right. So let me start by asking, maybe because you and I are in the midst of a conversation already, Jen, let's ask you. When you have gone and done courses, project work, even school, where are some of the failure points? What have you noticed that have made it more difficult? Where have you failed? What have you tried? What's not worked? What are some of the things that haven't worked for you? Other than the kids and the cat screaming in the background.
Hang on. Can you go back upstairs? John, can you take the kids, please? Just for a minute. Thank you. We've got a naked 3-year-old on her way to join us.
That's awesome. She can come join us. Come on.
Okay, come here. Okay, so where it's been difficult, where I find that I can't do this.
Don't worry. I'm going to put you on mute. You can come back afterwards. Kyla, I see you hiding in there. Ed, I see you hiding in there. I welcome either one of you guys to join in for a second, and I'm just curious as to where you guys have had failure points when you guys have gone to school, when you guys have tried to implement things. What are some of the areas that are quite common?
I'm back.
Okay, just give me a sec. Ed, Kyla, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Shoot. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think I get overwhelmed and then I get tired. If I don't go to sleep, then I get too tired, and if I don't want to go to bed, then I don't get enough sleep and I tank myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost a way of doing it without even thinking about it.
Yep.
So
that's the perpetual lack of sleep cycle. Jen has no idea about that, by the way. She doesn't. Teasing. What are some of the other ways that, whether it's been school or study or projects or courses, what are some of the ways that you have not gotten the results that you wanted? Any other thoughts around that, Kyla?
Nothing particularly clear at the moment. I mean, I do have ways.
Ways of succeeding?
Yeah, ways of succeeding and ways of just making things harder for myself.
That's what we're going to talk about today. So
yeah.
Thank you. I'm going to unmute you, Jen, here just in a sec. Are you you ready for this? Okay.
Okay. Sorry, it's life.
No worries.
Okay, so I feel like for myself, it's really easy to get hot off the start line, right? You know, you're like, hoorah, I got these changes. I'm gonna these big goals, and everything's great for a week, maybe two. And then those entrenched patterns just like really force forward, right? Like I feel like it's like then the work is easy at the beginning, and then it gets really hard. It's like
it's also really exciting to begin with because
totally,
it's new,
right?
it's fresh.
Yeah.
So if I can mirror off of what you just said, that's the whole point of today's topic. So for me, when about it's going to be almost 3 years ago, I was running so hard in business, and I just felt that this was the way that I needed to go. I thought that building bigger, stronger, faster, blah, blah, blah. And I think that this is kind of I've said this to all of you guys, it's kind of the male paradigm that we learn in society is just go and produce and go harder and then burn out. And then you don't take care of your family, you don't take care of your body, everything burns to the ground, and there you are in a pit.
Right. Yeah, and it feels like those little steps in the plan making are what's missing. In the areas that I've failed, I've had the big goal, but haven't had the incremental pieces to get there. I just see the end, and then the end feels too big, right? It's like you get that excitement of where you see where I'm going, and then without those bite-sized pieces along the way that are actually obtainable, like the core 4, those little pieces that keep building on themselves, but even those steps to the bigger plan, it really starts to fall apart because it's like, well, that's just not going to happen.
The analogy is, in baseball, I use sports analogies all the time. Guys get in there, they try to hit home runs, and they end up striking out. But the guys that make make the game work, if you watch it, hit singles. They just hit singles consistently every time they get up to plate. They move guys around the bases. It's constructive. When you look at mountaineering, the number of people that get to a mountain and they put in all the work and they pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in equipment and training and everything else, and then they look at the top and they go, I just can't do it. It's really relative to what happens in life. So like 3 years ago, when I was burning it to the ground, Tracy looked at me and she says, do you want to continue this? My body was falling apart myself. Here I am trying to teach and preach health and even spinal health, and my neck had broken down so much because I was sedating with exercise. I was training 14 to 16 hours a week in triathlon, and it was a healthier version of sedating as opposed to just drinking my face off. But I was just running away from my pain and wasn't really dealing with it. My neck broke down, my relationships broke down, essentially everything was breaking down. I had problems within my business that were uncountable. And when I went down to Warrior Week, which is where I really started to dive deeper into this with Garrett J. White, I came back from that much like many of you will in this. I was on fire. I had all the skills, all the tools. I came back and I said to Tracy, I was all emotional. I was like, I got this now.
No, you don't.
No, you don't.
No,
I don't. It's like, I can't tell you how many of you guys have said just into the group, oh my God, this is like drinking through a fire hose.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is. And the intention of the 7-day challenge is to give you guys all a taste of what it's like to kind of dive into the material. Where I've failed in the past, just like what you were saying, Jen, and you, Kyla, is that I have strategies for getting through coursework. I have strategies for these things, but I have a tendency, one of my old patterns and habits is I try to kind of just do it on my own. And then as the motivation wears off, my focus wears off, and then I get into old patterns, old habits, and I end up with my same results. And what happens is you notice that years go by, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years go by, and nothing's changed. You're just literally waiting for the weekend to come by, or in your case, Jen, you're waiting for 10 days to go by so you can get support again, so that you can have a glass of wine and go, get me off this frickin' treadmill, right? So today really is the whole topic of the drift, and the analogy of the drift, or the metaphor of the drift, is it comes from when you're mountaineering. When you're mountaineering, you get all the way up to the base camp. You're practicing all your skills. You're acclimatizing to the oxygen. You've taken care of all the details to get there. The code is the details and the facts in your life, your body being balanced in business. You've dealt with your habits in order to get there so that you can climb up the mountain. You've got your fuel. You know what your values, and you know that the mission that you're on is to get to the top of this mountain that you have defined for yourself. You have put the habits in place for your relationships, because again, to get to the top of the mountain, you got to nurture you got to nurture your team, you got to nurture your kids. Everything has to be there to support you. You've taken care of the Sherpa. The Sherpa is that guy that keeps you. You're like, oh no, I can't quite do it. Oh, yep, no, I got it. This is the direction that I'm going. The Sherpa is the daily tool that we use. In this case, I use the Patriot Missile Game, which, by the way, the update is by Monday or Tuesday, we should have the app running. Everybody's going to get an opportunity. Okay, so we've taken care of all those things, but then we push a little bit further, and then it's like something takes us off course. We drift. We get some sort of a crisis or a challenge happens. Men have a tendency, I'm just saying this, not that this is a men versus a woman thing, but men have a tendency to isolate. We have a tendency to try to do things on our own, and that's where it creates burnout, or we focus unilaterally in our lives. Yes, ladies do the same thing, although my experience has been is that you start taking care of everyone else around you, and then you start to resent them, and you burn down as well. Right? So the reality of it is that we're all the same. It's just we just all have different patterns. And this isn't a boys versus girls thing. These are just the observable societal patterns. So today is really about my experience in success. When I came back from Warrior Week, I was given an opportunity to be able to do the work with all of the coaches and all the leaders and the team that I had formed, and the power that I found in doing this in teams, small teams, not massive teams, small teams. Everybody pushed the accountability. If you've ever played on a sports team, or if you've ever done anything in a small group, you realize that you don't just do it for you. There's this momentum, there's this energy, this power, this strength of doing it in a small group. And that's probably the single most powerful tool that I can encourage anybody to do. So if it's with your body, Jen, I know that you're getting into running. I know you can do that on your own. But the reality of it is if you wanted to up your time, or if you wanted to take that into a broader scope like you and I talked about, like triathlon, my consideration for you, or something that I would have you consider, is find a coach and a group of athletes that is going to pull you in the direction that you want to go. If we're talking about being, if we're talking about fulfillment, well, first of all, you got to be clear on what that looks like for you. For me, it's coaching and teaching, as you guys see. So I went through not just the challenge programs and small groups with the Warrior. I was sitting there going, no, I need to do this. I've got it inside of me to make sure that I wake up other men and women that are doing well in life, but there's that, it's dimmed, and I just want to see the light bulb go back on, and I couldn't keep it inside of myself anymore. So I went through the certification program to be able to train and coach other successful business parents, is the term that I use, in order to just start to get that engine going. I would have you consider that if it's in marriage, even partnership, everybody looks at counseling, coaching, these types of things as I do it when I failed. That's the current medical model, that I do things when my body has a disease. I want you to consider that growing your marriage, growing your partnership, growing anything that's important to you is an act of courage, and really, really benefits every other area of life. So if you're spending money or investing in a team or a coach to grow your body, I want you to consider that that's probably not a bad idea for your marriage and your other partnerships as well. Just like for me, business is not business unless I'm learning, teaching, and growing something. But why wouldn't I do that for my body? Why wouldn't I do that for my marriage? Those are just some of the suggestions that I have. So where am I going with this? Basically, what I want each of you guys to do is, once you guys, tomorrow, we're going to really go through what I experienced in Warrior Week, coming out of it, in what we call the King or the Queen's Challenge. It's a 90-day process that you can do on your own. You can do in a small group, or you can do, I'm happy to do some one-on-one coaching for anybody that really wants to dive deeply that way. But the reality of it is I'm going to give you the process in which you can start into your own 90-day challenge. And I'm going to give you the tools with which to do so. What I want you to think about, what I want you to process is, how do you want to do that? If you're going to do this challenge, because this is the biggest challenge that comes out of this, is, like you said, Jen, to begin with, is we all start, we all get going, and then it's like full stop, back to old patterns. So the 90-day challenge gives you the where you are and where I'm going to be in 90 days. It gives you the core 4, it gives you the daily habits, but then it teaches the challenge is to pull these little items forward on a daily basis, so that ultimately in 3 months, I will have you consider that you should easily be able to accomplish more and get more traction in your life than what you would ordinarily accomplish in about 3 years. How do we get involved with the group? Great question, Jen. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not putting any of this into the group right now. I'll seed this so that you guys can consider it. There's 2 or 3 different ways that you can get involved with one of the groups that we're working with, okay? So if anybody wants the full experience, like the full powerful experience, obviously we have a Men and Women of Iron group that's coming into Victoria next weekend. So that one is, unfortunately, that one is closed because the group is already going through their training, but you can follow me and just kind of watch some of what they go through. I would say that most people are quite intimidated by the Men and Women of Iron experience simply because it looks like sort of a physical beatdown. The purpose of the full experience is to really show you that you've got more in the tank than you think, mentally, physically, and emotionally. And I would have you consider that if you're going through this process and you're just like, I'm done with the status quo, I want to change this, going and doing the Men of Iron experience will radically change your life. And then you can get involved with those teams that are going through that. Okay. My next two events for women, I believe, actually is in 2 weeks. The actual Women of Iron solo event is in Texas with some of our coaches. My next Men of Iron event is April 17th and 18th in Denver, Colorado. And we're working towards a longer 4-day experience in May in Thailand, which we haven't solidified yet, but that's what we're working on. So if you really, really want that, Jen, as far as when will Women of Iron be back in Victoria again, I haven't solidified the next date. Those are the next 3 dates that I have right now, is Texas, Denver, and most likely Thailand. Okay. I'll have to get you the updated dates after that. So if you're even interested in those experiences, all I want you to do is I just want you to personal message me. Okay. If you want to do one-on-one coaching, my time is a little bit more limited for one-on-one coaching because of the demands of one-on-one coaching. So I've got a couple spots that I will do one-on-one coaching. So if you kind of want a little bit more of a personal one-on-one intimate experience, you can let me know, and I'm happy to do that. I encourage people not, it's weird because I'm fine with doing that, but I find that people's success is a little bit better when they do group coaching. So if you're in any way interested in doing this as part of a small group, I'll give you an idea of what this looks like. So any of my clients that do one-on-one coaching with me, it costs somewhere around the neighborhood of about $15,000 US over a six month span. When you do it as group coaching, it's more like $5K. Now for this particular group, because I'm asking you guys for some feedback with the app that I'm still hoping to get to, I'm not going to charge $1,000 a month. That's not what I would do. If you're interested in being part of a group, particularly as we've just gone through this, all I want you to do is just message me. I'm all in, and I'm happy to discuss what those details are. I won't make it completely unreasonable for you to participate in a small group, and I would love to have a group coming out of this particular unit. But like I said, the details of that right now are insignificant compared to whether or not the interest is there. So if you're interested in any of those, I just want you to personal message me in Facebook and say I'm all in. That has to be done by Wednesday, and I'll remind you of that. Ultimately, the 3 options are Men or Women of Iron, one-on-one, or small group coaching. And it's kind of up to you. I guess the other option too is, now that you've got the skills, and like Jen, you and I have talked about this, is I've given them to you. As much as this information is going to close on Wednesday, you got the tools, and so long as you've gone through the program and done the homework, like, you've got a pretty good jump start. I am happy to be giving this information, and I'll open this program again probably in February or March as well. It just won't be for $1. I want to thank each of you guys for going through this. Now, tomorrow is going to be, like I said, tomorrow's a big day simply because I'm going to teach you guys how to set up those 90-day challenges, what I call the King or the Queen's Challenge. I'm going to teach you how to set those up. so that even if you didn't want to do it with an accountability group or in any way with the coaching, that's fine. You would at least have a kickstart. So if you are, and I know Jen, you're asking some of the questions about what is the participation level, what does the coaching even look like? Doesn't matter whether you're doing one-on-one or group coaching. There's an hour every week that I do a call. So that's what we get, and we coach, and we make sure that there's homework every week, and then we actually we light a bit of a fire under you. There's accountability, and we actually make sure that you're getting to your targets within 3 months. So if you're at that point where you're like, no, I want to get somewhere and I want to light a little bit of a fire under my butt, then get involved with one of the groups. I highly recommend it. Okay, the power of working with a small group of people like this that is aligned with moving is indescribable. What other things do you get? You actually get access to the app permanently as opposed to just trying it. So you actually get access to all the tools. You'll get access to all these videos. You'll be able to watch them over and over and over again, as well as the coaching that you get on a weekly basis. We usually do the coaching programs for about 6 months. So you get 2 runs in a 90-day challenge so that you can work through the kinks. And then after 6 months, some people like to participate. There's we call it a King's or a Queen's Council. So we get together still on a weekly basis to be able to keep ourselves accountable to things like the Core 4 and our basic habits. It's just not as intense as the 6 months of coaching. What else? Yeah, I mean, ultimately, when it comes down to this, whether you're going to go and find a coaching group or a specific mentorship for your body, for your marriage, or for whatever it is, I highly encourage it. If you want traction across all those areas and you want to do this with a group of people that's aligned, like I said, all you got to do is let me know, and I will hook you up and make sure that you get moving in the direction you want to go. Jen, did you have any other questions? Thank you for typing that, by the way, so that you can keep the cat scratching in the back. I appreciate it. Anything else come out for you?